Chicago's autumn had a way of creeping into your bones. The cold wasn't sharp, but slow, quiet, and patient. The kind that made you pull your jacket tighter, even when the wind wasn't blowing. Adrian Cole always liked this season. It felt honest. Leaves fell because they had to. Trees let go when it was time. No games, no hidden motives. He wished people were the same. That Thursday morning, as he sipped his black coffee near the window, he watched the neighborhood wake up. The bakery's sign flickered to life. Dog walkers appeared on the sidewalk. Cars hummed past. And somewhere between the distant taxi horns and the smell of fresh bread, he realized he hadn't heard from Mia yet. Again, she used to text him good morning before he even opened his eyes. A soft wake-up sleepyhead that always made him smile. Now, nothing. Not even a half-hearted emoji. He checked the time. 9:42 a.m. She usually left for work by 8. He told himself not to overthink it. Not again. He packed his laptop into his bag and headed to the office, walking the familiar 10-minute route. But even through the crisp air and the fallen leaves crunching beneath his shoes, something gnawed at him. Distance. Mia had been distant for weeks, emotionally pale, mentally somewhere else. Every conversation with her felt like trying to hold water in his hands. It slipped away before he even understood what he was trying to grasp. At the office, coworkers greeted him as he stepped into the project management wing. "Morning, Adrian," Martin called out. "Morning. You look tired, man. Everything okay?" Adrian offered a small, polite smile. Late night writing reports. Not exactly a lie, but not the truth either. He logged into his workstation, but his mind drifted. His phone stayed silent. No text, not even a missed call. By noon, his stomach was hollow not from hunger, but from a tension he couldn't swallow. Finally, his phone buzzed. His heart jumped ridiculous. He knew, but he checked anyway. "Mia. Hey, busy morning. Talk later." 2 short sentences. No warmth, no heart, no spark, just obligation. He stared at the screen for a few seconds before locking his phone and sliding it into his pocket. His desk neighbor, Jasmine, glanced toward him. Trouble in paradise. He raised a brow. "Do I look that obvious? You look like a man reading a weather forecast that predicts storms." She shrugged. "If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here." Adrian appreciated her honesty. Most people ignored cracks until they became disasters. He wasn't so lucky. After work, he decided to stop by the small coffee shop he and Mia used to visit almost daily. A ritual, a memory, something warm and familiar. But as he stepped inside, the space felt colder, different, empty in a way that didn't come from the lack of people. He grabbed a seat near the back and pulled out his phone again. Still nothing. He typed a message. "Adrian, everything okay? You've been quiet lately." He stared at it for a full minute, then deleted it. He didn't want to sound needy. He didn't want to chase someone who wasn't running toward him. He put the phone away. But fate had its timing. As he lifted his cup, someone walked into the shop. Mia. His breath caught not in excitement, but in confusion. She wasn't supposed to be here. She told him she'd be at the office until late. She didn't see him as she walked in, smiling at her phone, one of those soft, genuine smiles he hadn't seen directed at him in weeks. Then she tucked her hair behind her ear and typed quickly, her cheeks warming with a blush he recognized all too well. Adrian's stomach dropped. That wasn't a work smile. That wasn't a coworker smile. And as he sat there watching her, silent and unseen, one thought slowly tightened around his chest. She wasn't slipping away. She had already slipped. Adrian didn't move, didn't blink, didn't even breathe properly. He just watched Mia from across the coffee shop, hidden behind the half wall dividing the booths. A part of him wished she'd turn around and see him, if only so he could read her expression. Would she be startled, guilty, indifferent? But she didn't turn. She didn't scan the room. She didn't look for him at all. She was too busy smiling at her phone. Mia slid into a booth near the window, the late afternoon sunlight catching the soft brown waves of her hair. She looked beautiful, effortlessly so. Adrian felt that familiar ache, the kind that comes from loving someone who suddenly feels like a stranger. She typed quickly, paused, smiled again, and typed more. Her cheeks flushed. Her eyes softened. Her teeth grazed her lower lip. This wasn't the expression Mia used when texting coworkers. This wasn't the gentle amusement she showed when replying to her mom. This wasn't affection for Adrian. This was excitement, nervous excitement, forbidden excitement. Adrian's pulse thudded in his ears. For a long moment, he considered standing up, walking over, sitting across from her, looking her in the eyes and asking, "Who's making you smile like that?" But he didn't. Not because he was afraid of the answer, but because he already knew the answer. He just wasn't ready to hear it aloud. A waitress approached him. "Refill?" He jerked slightly, pulled from his thoughts. Yeah, sure." When she poured the coffee, her gaze drifted toward Mia. "Your girlfriend?" she asked casually. "Yeah," he said out of instinct. Then quietly corrected. "I mean, yes, she's here often," the waitress said with a smile. "Usually with you. Haven't seen you two together lately." He nodded, throat tight. "Yeah, just busy schedules." The waitress's expression softened with sympathy before she walked away. Adrian glanced back at Mia. She was still typing, still glowing. And then he saw it. Her phone screen lit up just enough for a reflection on the glass window behind her. He couldn't see the entire message, but one word stood out clearly. Jason. His chest tightened. Jason, Mia's ex. The man she once cried over 4 weeks. The man she claimed she had no feelings for anymore. The man she said she blocked long ago. Jason was back. And Mia didn't just let him in, she welcomed him the same way she once welcomed Adrian. He exhaled slowly, his hand tightening around his coffee cup. Suddenly, it tasted like nothing. Burnt, bitter, hollow. A few minutes later, Mia stood, gathering her purse. She didn't order anything. She wasn't here for coffee. She was here for privacy, a quiet corner to text someone she wasn't supposed to be texting. She walked past Adrian without noticing him, her perfume trailing behind her like a ghost of better days. The door chimed as she left. He watched her walk away, his heart sinking deeper with each step she took. He waited a minute, then another. Then he stood and walked outside. The cold air hit him, sharp and sobering. People passed by, bundled in coats and scarves, laughing, talking, living their uncomplicated lives. Adrian inhaled deeply. He wasn't the jealous type. He wasn't the paranoid type. He wasn't the type to assume the worst. But he wasn't blind, and he wasn't stupid. Later that night, he lay on the couch instead of the bed, staring at the ceiling, the room illuminated only by the pale streetlights filtering through the blinds. His phone buzzed at 11:03 p.m. Mia. Home now, exhausted, heading to bed. Sweet dreams. He read it 3 times. She didn't know he'd seen her. Didn't know he watched her text Jason. Didn't know her lie was already unraveling. Adrian typed a reply. Did you get coffee earlier? He waited. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Mia just grabbed tea with a coworker. Why? The ceiling seemed to tilt. Not because she lied, he'd already expected that, but because she lied so easily, so quickly, so smoothly, as if truth was optional, as if he didn't matter, as if he wouldn't notice. Adrian placed his phone face down on his chest. Something inside him cracked. Quietly. He didn't respond. Not that night. Not with anger, not with accusations. He just let the silence stretch long and heavy until the truth began to echo inside him. Mia wasn't slipping away. She was choosing someone else. And for the first time, Adrian wondered how long she'd been gone. The next morning, Adrian woke up feeling like someone had replaced his chest with a block of ice. It wasn't heartbreak, not yet. Heartbreak was loud, dramatic, unforgettable. This was quieter. A dull, persistent ache, the kind you only feel when something inside you is changing against your will. He sat on the edge of the bed, running a hand through his hair. Mia's pillow still smelled like her lavender and vanilla. Familiar, safe, but now it only reminded him of a truth he didn't want to confront. He checked his phone out of habit. Nothing from Mia, no good morning, no kiss emoji, no check-in. She always texted first, always, except now. He walked to the kitchen, made coffee, and tried to push through the day like nothing had shifted. But everything had. Even the walls felt different. At work, Jasmine noticed immediately. You look worse than yesterday, she said, raising a brow. You sleep, some, he lied. You want my honest opinion? She asked gently. Not really, he said with a half smile. Too bad. She crossed her arms. Something's wrong with Mia, and you know it. He swallowed. Yeah, I do. Jasmine's expression softened. Whatever it is, don't let it eat you alive. He nodded, appreciating the concern more than he could express. Around lunch, he checked his phone again. Still nothing. By mid-afternoon, a text finally arrived. Mia, crazy day at work. We'll be late again. New campaign launch. The words hit differently now. Before, he would have believed them. Now he heard the lie underneath. He typed back, okay, hope it goes well. Simple, neutral, no suspicion, no accusations. He was watching, waiting, not reacting, not yet. That night, the apartment felt too big, too quiet. He ordered takeout but barely ate. Every minute felt stretched thin, like time was mocking him. At 11:52 p.m., the lock clicked. Mia walked in. Hey, she said casually, dropping her purse. You're still up? Couldn't sleep. She stretched, hiding a smile. Campaign was hell. I swear my team is useless sometimes. There it was, the lie wrapped in a believable complaint. Adrian studied her, her flushed cheeks, her messy hair, the way her eyes wouldn't quite meet his. She wasn't exhausted, she was glowing. He forced a small nod. Long day. She shrugged and walked past him. I'm gonna shower. As she disappeared into the bathroom, her phone buzzed on the counter. The name lit up the screen. Jason, did you get home? Had fun tonight? Adrian froze. This wasn't suspicion. This wasn't imagination. This wasn't insecurity. This was betrayal. Cold, clear, undeniable. He didn't touch her phone. Didn't open anything. He didn't need to. He just stood there, breathing slowly, letting the truth settle in his bones. When Mia returned, wrapped in a towel, she saw him standing there. You okay? She asked. He nodded once. Just tired. She smiled softly. Come to bed. He followed her, but inside something had shifted quietly but permanently. He lay beside her, her back pressed against his chest, her breathing steady, and Adrian stared at the ceiling, thinking, this is the last time I sleep beside someone who lies to my face. He didn't flinch, didn't confront, didn't explode. He waited. And in the silence, something inside him began to harden. Not anger, not hatred, strength. The next few days passed like a movie, stuck on a loop, predictable, draining, unavoidable. Mia's lies grew smoother, quicker, almost rehearsed. Adrian's silence grew deeper. He wasn't pulling away out of weakness, he was preparing. On Friday evening, Mia stood in the bedroom doorway fixing her earrings. I have a late strategy meeting tonight, she said casually, checking her reflection. Don't wait up. Adrian looked up from the chair where he was lacing his shoes. Strategy meeting, right? She paused, not catching the hollow tone. Yep, big week, new projects. Stress everywhere. He nodded. Where's the meeting? Downtown office. She said quickly, too quickly. What time will you be back? Late. Really late. She kissed his cheek lightly, already halfway out the door. Love you. He didn't say it back. He didn't need to. She didn't notice anyway. When the door clicked shut, Adrian sat in silence. He didn't follow her, didn't track her car, didn't check her location. He simply waited. At 9:17 p.m., his phone vibrated. Location? Jason's apartment. She didn't even try to hide it this time. He stared at the screen for a long moment, calm as still water. No shaking hands, no rage, no heartbreak. Just an odd clarity, like the final piece of a puzzle sliding into place. He turned off the lights, sat on the couch, and waited. Hours passed. He didn't move. At 1:08 a.m., her message came. Mia, don't wait up. Jason's with me. There it was. The sentence that broke the last thread holding the relationship together. Adrian read it once. Then again, he felt nothing. No shock, no pain. Just the quiet confirmation of what he already knew. He typed nothing back. Instead, he leaned back on the couch, closed his eyes, and exhaled slowly. For the first time in weeks, he felt free. The next morning, Adrian woke up earlier than usual. His mind sharp, clear, focused. The heaviness that had been suffocating him for weeks was gone. He brewed coffee, cleaned the apartment, folded laundry calm, methodical, deliberate. Every movement felt like reclaiming a piece of himself. Mia didn't return home. Not at 3 a.m., not at 5 a.m., not at sunrise. At 9:42 a.m., his phone buzzed. Mia, hey babe, last night got complicated. Can we talk? He didn't respond. At 10:12, Mia, please answer. I need you. He ignored it. At 11:04, Mia, are you mad? I can explain everything. He sipped his coffee. At 12:15, Mia, Adrian, answer me. I'm serious. He wasn't cruel. He wasn't vindictive. He was done. Around 1 p.m., the doorbell rang repeatedly. Adrian opened it slowly. Mia stood there, hair messy, makeup smudged, breath unsteady. She looked like she'd run through a storm. Why weren't you answering? She demanded breathlessly. He simply stepped aside, letting her in without a word. Inside, she spoke quickly, nervously. Look, last night wasn't what you think. Jason, he just needed someone to talk to, and things got emotional, and he didn't react, didn't blink, didn't give her the satisfaction of a response. She faltered. Adrian, say something. He looked at her calmly. You said not to wait. She froze. And, he continued quietly, I didn't. Mia swallowed hard, panic flickering in her eyes. You don't understand. I didn't mean it like that. It wasn't what you think. Adrian stood, walked past her, and opened the front door. You should go, he said simply. Her breath hitched. Adrian, please, don't do this. He held her gaze, steady and unshaken. You already did. Mia didn't leave immediately. She stepped back inside, voice trembling. You're making a mistake. We can work through this. Adrian shook his head slowly. You weren't working through anything. You were working on something else entirely. She walked toward him, reaching for his hand. Baby, Jason doesn't mean anything. You mean everything. I just needed clarity. And you found it in his bed. Her face crumpled. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. Mia's composure shattered. I wasn't thinking. I was confused. You've been distant. And I felt alone. Adrian inhaled sharply. You felt alone because you were building a second relationship. She flinched. He continued, voice steady. You didn't slip. You didn't accidentally fall into someone else's arms. You chose this. Mia sank onto the couch, hands shaking. I made a mistake, a stupid one, but please, please, don't leave me. Adrian regarded her quietly. You left first, he said. You just didn't walk out the door. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, I still love you. I don't believe that, he said simply, and for a moment, the room was silent, heavy, suffocating. Mia finally broke. Adrian, I'm begging you, don't do this, please. He walked to the bedroom, grabbed a small bag, and slung it over his shoulder. Her eyes widened. Where are you going? Forward he walked past her, out the door, not looking back. And for the first time, Mia realized she had lost him long before this moment. She just didn't he notice until he finally let go. Adrian checked into a small, quiet Airbnb across town. A studio apartment overlooking the river, peaceful and distant enough from the chaos he'd left behind. He spent the first hour just sitting on the balcony, breathing. Really breathing. No tension, no waiting. No wondering where Mia was or who she was texting. Just air. His phone buzzed nonstop. 30 missed calls. 18 voice messages. 51 texts. He didn't open any. Instead, he met with friends he hadn't seen in months. Ate real food, slept uninterrupted, took walks along the river, reconnected with the version of himself he'd abandoned, while trying to hold together a relationship he didn't know was already broken. By the third day, Mia showed up at his Airbnb. He didn't answer the door. She sat outside for hours, crying, calling, begging, leaving handwritten notes under the door. He didn't open it. For once, he chose himself. 3 weeks passed before he heard her voice again, not in person, but through a final voicemail. Adrian, I know I ruined everything. I know you'll never trust me again. I just want you to know, I'm sorry, for real. I hope someday you can forgive me. Goodbye. He deleted it without listening twice. He no longer lived in that part of his life. The final scene unfolded on a crisp autumn afternoon. Adrian stood on a Chicago bridge overlooking the river, the gold leaves swirling around him, his breath visible in the cold air, his hands warm inside his pockets. He felt lighter, stronger, whole. Some wounds didn't bleed, they emptied. Some endings didn't explode, they released. His phone vibrated. A message from Jasmine. Jasmine, checking on you. You good? He smiled. Adrian, yeah, better than good. She replied instantly. Jasmine, proud of you. Adrian looked at the city skyline, its lights sharp against the dimming sky. Mia was gone from his life. Her name now just a quiet memory. Jason didn't matter. The betrayal didn't define him anymore. He had survived it. More importantly, he had risen from it. The wind picked up, scattering leaves across the bridge. Adrian closed his eyes, letting the cool air wash over him, and with a slow exhale, he whispered the truth that had carried him through the darkness. Sometimes the strongest comeback is walking away.